The art of rising after betrayal. A secret doctrine for those ruined by love. Men lose kingdoms, but few losses compared to the surrender of the heart. For when a prince is dethroned, he may still retreat with loyal guards. But when a lover is betrayed, he stands alone in the ruins of illusion. Understand this first. It is not love that destroys you. It is the collapse of power. You do not suffer because they left. You suffer because you handed them authority over your emotional state. And now you kneel before absence. This must end. I shall give you 7 stratagems to rise from the ashes of heartbreak, not as a wounded supplicant, but as a sovereign restored. Read carefully. The weak will seek comfort in these words. The strong will find weapons. 1. To cut off supply. Starve the empire of memory. No prince wins a war by feeding the enemy. Yet the heartbroken do precisely this. They revisit old messages. They stalk the betrayer's movements. They rehearse conversations that no longer exist. You call it closure. I call it surrender. The mind obeys what it is repeatedly shown. If you continue to feed it their image, it will continue to crave their presence. Therefore, delete what binds you. Mute what tempts you. Remove yourself from arenas where their shadow may appear. This is not weakness. It is siege warfare. When I advised rulers, I warned them. Destroy the enemy's capacity to regroup. If you leave fragments, rebellion will rise again. So it is with memory. Burn the bridges in your mind. Let the smoke sting if it must. Some pain endured briefly. And strategy is superior to prolonged torment born of sentimentality. You do not need reminders. You need distance. And distance is the first act of self-respect. 2. Reframe the betrayal. Transform humiliation into education. The naive ask, why did they do this to me? The powerful ask, what did this reveal? A betrayal is never random. It uncovers imbalance. It exposes illusions. It reveals where you overinvested and underguarded. When a minister defects, the prince does not collapse in grief. He studies the weakness that allowed such treachery. You must do the same. Were you too available? Too forgiving? Too eager to please? Too afraid to walk away first? Heartbreak is an audit. Conduct it without mercy. Write down what you ignored. Write down what you tolerated. Write down the moments your intuition whispered, and you silenced it. This is not to blame yourself. It is to arm yourself. For knowledge gained through pain is knowledge never forgotten. Let this heartbreak become tuition. You paid dearly for it. Extract every lesson. 3. Master the theater of emotion. Here lies the great weakness of lovers. They reveal too much. They plead. They explain. They demand answers. This gratifies the betrayer. Why? Because your emotional exposure confirms their power. Never give your enemy proof of impact. When a ruler is wounded in battle, he does not parade his injury through the streets. He stands upright, even if blood fills his boots. Your silence will disturb them more than your speeches. Your composure will haunt them more than your accusations. If they reach out, respond with brevity. As if they apologize, accept without reopening the door. If they provoke, do not perform. The one who appears least affected regains leverage, and leverage restores dignity. Remember this. Emotional control is not suppression. It is delayed expression in private chambers. Weep if you must, but do so in solitude. Public restraint is power. 4. Rebuild your image. Power is perception. When a ruler loses territory, he fortifies his capital. After heartbreak, your capital is your identity. You must improve it. Not for revenge, but for restoration. Return to the disciplines you neglected. Strengthen your body. Refine your appearance. Advance your craft. Sharpen your speech. Let your life become visibly structured. Why? Because nothing unsettles a betrayer more than your visible ascension. They expect decline. Give them evolution. Post less. Achieve more. Speak less. Develop more. Disappear from their emotional reach and reappear as someone elevated. When they see you thriving, doubt will gnaw at them. And doubt is a slow poison. This is not pettiness. It is strategy. A fallen prince who rebuilds stronger ensures that future enemies hesitate before striking. V. Withdraw privilege. Love grants access. Your time, your attention, your emotional labor. These are privileges, not entitlements. The moment betrayal occurs, privileges expire. Do not continue advising them. Do not comfort them. Do not remain their emotional insurance. Many heartbroken souls attempt to stay friends. This is folly unless indifference has truly been achieved. To remain available is to reduce your own value. Scarcity creates respect. Abundance of access creates dismissal. Withdraw completely, not theatrically, but decisively. Let them experience the absence of your support. Only when value is removed does it become understood. Sequax, convert pain into ambition. There exists no fuel more potent than wounded pride. The weak drown in it. The strong harness it. Channel the agitation into creation. Build something. Learn something. Train harder. Earn more. Lead more boldly. Heartbreak grants clarity. It reveals how fragile emotional dependency is. Replace dependency with dominance in your own domain. When your life expands, their memory contracts. When your goals demand focus, your suffering loses oxygen. Let the pain sharpen you. Steel is forged in fire, not comfort. 7. Redefine your standard. The final step is ruthless honesty. You must ask yourself, did they truly meet the standard you now demand? Or did you elevate them beyond their merit? Often, we grieve not the person, but the fantasy. Destroy the fantasy. See them clearly, their inconsistency, their immaturity, their selfishness. The spell breaks when illusion dies. From this day forward, define what is required to earn access to you. Write it. Memorize it. Enforce it. For heartbreak often occurs not because love failed, but because standards were never guarded. If you find strength in these doctrines, then commit to mastering more. Subscribe, for only the vigilant deserve continued instruction. And when you have endured betrayal and risen stronger, comment your experience. For the disciplined, learn from each other's campaigns. This is not a place for the fragile. It is a counsel for the strategic. Next, I shall reveal the final triad, 3 methods by which one walks away as though untouched, and how guilt may be returned to its rightful owner. For the greatest transformation is this: from wounded lover to unmoved sovereign. Excellent. We proceed deeper. You have cut supply. You have reframed betrayal. You have restrained performance. You have begun rebuilding. Good. But understand this. The external battle is simple. The internal rebellion is far more dangerous. For when the lover leaves, they take nothing from you. Yet your own mind becomes the insurgent. It whispers, perhaps they will return. Perhaps it was my fault. Perhaps I should reach out. This is how empires collapse, not from invasion, but from civil war. Therefore, this second doctrine concerns mastery over the unseen battlefield. The mind. 8. Execute hope. The most dangerous traitor. Hope is virtuous in politics when one commands an army. In heartbreak, hope is poison. As long as you hope for their return, you remain psychologically subordinate. You do not move forward, you hover. You do not rebuild, you wait. Waiting is a silent form of begging. Hear me carefully. A ruler who waits for mercy will die dependent. So must you execute hope. Not optimism for your future, but hope for their return. Even if reconciliation occurs one day, it must not be your desire. It must be their pursuit. Detach from outcome. Tell yourself plainly, they are gone. And even if they return, the door is closed unless they qualify anew. This thought restores authority. Hope chains you to the past. Detachment frees you to negotiate the future. Kill hope. Replace it with strategy. 9. Silence. Your narrative of victimhood. The heartbroken repeat their story endlessly, to friends, to family, to themselves. Each repetition strengthens the identity of the wronged one. Be careful. Identity hardens quickly. If you identify as victim, you will behave as one, even when opportunity appears. Instead, change the narrative. You were not abandoned. You were revealed. You were not discarded. You were redirected. This shift is subtle but powerful. Victims ask, "Why me?" Strategists ask, "What now?" Your story must evolve from tragedy to transformation. Speak of it less. And when you do, speak with composure. Those who retell betrayal dramatically remain emotionally tied to it. Those who summarize it calmly have begun detachment. The goal is not denial. The goal is dominance over interpretation. X. Reclaim your mystique. Familiarity breeds dismissal. In love, you revealed routines, vulnerabilities, desires, fears. You became predictable. Predictability reduces perceived value. Now you must restore mystery. Disclose less. Reveal less of your emotional state to mutual acquaintances. If asked how you are, answer simply, "I am focused." Let speculation replace certainty. Human beings are tormented by what they cannot measure. If they know you are devastated, they feel secure. If they cannot read you, they become unsettled. Mystique is psychological leverage. Even if you never see them again, cultivate it. For mystery elevates presence in all domains. 11. Restructure your daily command. Heartbreak magnifies empty time. Moments once filled with affection now echo. Therefore, structure becomes essential. Design your day as a ruler designs his court. Wake with intention. Train the body. Engage in productive labor. Limit idle consumption of entertainment. Study. Build. An unstructured day invites memory to dominate. A disciplined day restricts intrusion. You must become too occupied for obsession. Energy directed toward self-mastery leaves little room for rumination. And rumination is the architect of despair. 12. Refuse retaliation. Embrace superiority. Some will advise revenge, expose them, embarrass them, sabotage their reputation. This is the counsel of the small-minded. Retaliation confirms emotional entanglement. Indifference demonstrates elevation. The most elegant revenge is visible progress. If they betrayed you for excitement, give them monotony. If they left for better, become incomparable. The higher you rise, the more their choice becomes questionable, without you uttering a word. Let their conscience work without your interference. Silence is more unnerving than accusation. Control your digital footprint. In modern courts, battles occur in public arenas of display. Do not post cryptic messages. Do not display sorrow. Do not attempt to incite jealousy with obvious theatrics. These are transparent maneuvers. Instead, post sparingly. Post with purpose. Let your content reflect growth, discipline, ambition. Or vanish entirely for a season. Absence creates curiosity, and curiosity breeds unease. Never reveal your strategy. Appear stable, appear elevated, appear unaffected. Even if within, you are rebuilding brick by brick. Perception shapes narrative. Narrative shapes memory. Memory shapes regret. Transform loss into filter. This betrayal was not merely pain, it was filtration. Those who witnessed your suffering will reveal themselves. Some will gossip. Some will mock. Some will support. Observe quietly. Heartbreak exposes your true circle. Remove the weak allies. Retain the loyal. A prince betrayed by one minister must reassess the entire court. So must you. Your next ascent requires a stronger counsel. If these doctrines sharpen your mind, then you understand this is not mere consolation, it is training. Those who wish to master power beyond romance, subscribe. And if you have begun executing hope and reclaiming discipline, comment your progress below. Strategy thrives in shared insight. The weak seek comfort. The powerful seek transformation. Next, we enter darker territory. How to walk away as if untouched. How to reverse emotional gravity. How guilt, once aimed at you, may settle upon its rightful bearer. Good. Now we enter the cold chamber, the phase where the wounded cease bleeding and begin calculating. There is a moment after betrayal when two roads appear. One is familiar. It is loud. It is reactive. It seeks justice through emotion. The other is silent. It is controlled. It is unnerving. It shifts power without spectacle. Most choose the first. Few master the second. You have not endured this far to remain common. Now I shall give you the 3 ways by which one walks away as though nothing happened, and in doing so, alters the psychological balance entirely. Understand this. You do not truly move on. You reposition. 1. Master the exit. Leave without performance. When the lover betrays, the instinct is to explain, to demand an explanation, to seek clarity, to prove your worth, to state what they are losing. This is theatrical, and theater feeds ego, theirs. Instead, when departure becomes inevitable, speak minimally. You may say, I understand. I wish you well. Take care. Then end it. No paragraphs, no emotional essays, no dramatic final statements. The last impression must be composed detachment. Why? Because the human mind cannot rest when it does not receive confirmation of impact. If you rage, they feel validated. If you plead, they feel powerful. If you collapse, they feel justified. But if you remain steady, they are left uncertain. Uncertainty breeds curiosity. Curiosity breeds reflection. Reflection breeds doubt. You must become the unanswered question. The greatest weapon in departure is restraint. Leave before they expect you to. But if they threaten to leave, say calmly, then perhaps that is best. Watch how swiftly the dynamic shifts. The one who appears most willing to walk away holds the leverage. Always remember, desperation reduces value. Detachment increases it. 2. Become unreachable. Not physically, but psychologically. Many believe that blocking someone is strength. It can be. But true power is subtler. It is not about access to your profile. It is about access to your emotional core. If they message, do not respond instantly. If they test the waters, respond neutrally. If they attempt to rekindle, require qualification. Never re-enter the role you once played. The previous version of you is unavailable. When they attempt nostalgia, you redirect. When they attempt guilt, you remain unshaken. If they say, "No, you've changed," you reply calmly, "Yes." No defense, no apology. Growth requires no permission. The more they attempt to access the old you and fail, the more they feel distance. Distance, when imposed by the once devoted, creates discomfort. They begin to question their decision, not because you begged, but because you withdrew the version of yourself they once controlled. Psychological unavailability is more powerful than physical absence, for it implies evolution. 3. Shift the frame, from loss to upgrade. Most betrayed lovers frame the narrative thus: they lost me. This is surface-level confidence. The true shift is deeper. You must internally believe, I outgrew this. Not as arrogance, but as realization. When you truly believe you have ascended beyond what betrayed you, your behavior changes naturally. And you speak with more calm. You negotiate with more clarity. You tolerate less. People sense this. And when the betrayer senses you no longer see them as a prize, the power reverses. Here is a subtle art. If mutual acquaintances mention them, respond neutrally. I wish them well. Then pivot the conversation to your current pursuits. Signal progress. Signal forward motion. Never signal lingering attachment. In time, the story changes. You are no longer the one who was left. You are the one who moved on decisively. Perception becomes memory. Memory becomes reputation. Reputation becomes reality. The alchemy of guilt, how the weight returns to its source. You must understand something about human nature. Few people enjoy being the villain of their own story. If they betrayed you, they have constructed justification. They were too intense. They were too distant. It wasn't working. I needed freedom. These narratives protect their conscience. Your job is not to attack them. Your job is to remove the necessity of those narratives. When you do not chase, when you do not attack, when you do not collapse, their justification weakens. If you thrive, it weakens further. For now, they must reconcile two realities. You were stable. You are improving. Why then did they leave? Doubt begins to whisper, and doubt is heavier than accusation. This is how guilt returns, not through confrontation, through contrast. The transformation from victim to alpha. The word alpha is misused by fools who confuse dominance with noise. True dominance is emotional sovereignty. It is the ability to remain unmoved when others attempt to provoke reaction. It is choosing when to engage and when to withdraw. It is holding standards without apology. When you no longer seek validation from the one who hurt you, you shift position. They may attempt to re-enter, test you, compliment you, remind you of memories. Your response determines whether you return to subordination. Remember, familiar access must be re-earned. If they seek reunion, require accountability, clear acknowledgement of wrongdoing, clear demonstration of change, clear consistency over time. Otherwise, you walk, and you walk calmly. No speeches, no bitterness, just distance. The most powerful departure is one without visible anger. If this doctrine resonates, then you understand. Heartbreak is not an ending, it is initiation. Those committed to mastering power in love and life. Like, share, and subscribe. Spread discipline where chaos once ruled. Next, we descend even deeper. How to ensure you never again surrender emotional leverage. How to select partners strategically. How to love without losing authority. Excellent. Now we move beyond recovery. We move into prevention, elevation, and permanent dominance. You have learned how to survive betrayal. Now you shall learn how never to kneel again. A wise prince does not merely rebuild after invasion. He fortifies his kingdom so that invasion becomes costly. If you leave this heartbreak only healed, you will repeat it. If you leave it transformed, you will evolve beyond it. The common lover says, I hope next time it's different. The strategist says, next time, I am different. And that difference changes everything. 69. Never invest more than is invested in you. Imbalance is the seed of heartbreak. One loves intensely, The other enjoys casually. One sacrifices, the other samples. You must learn to mirror investment. If they give effort, you reciprocate. If they withdraw, you reduce. Do not escalate to compensate. Many commit this fatal error. When they feel distance, they increase affection. When they sense uncertainty, they offer reassurance. This trains the other to give less. For why should they invest when your devotion is guaranteed? Value increases when access is conditional. Let your presence be responsive, not desperate. Match energy. This is not game playing. It is equilibrium. 16. Withhold total access. Intimacy does not require exposure to your entire interior world. Reveal layers gradually. Allow mystery to remain. The one who knows every fear, every insecurity, every longing within weeks holds too much leverage. Trust must be earned through consistency. Do not confuse chemistry with character. Chemistry ignites quickly. Character reveals itself slowly. Test patience. Observe how they handle disagreement. Observe how they handle your absence. Observe how they handle power when they have it. Love without observation is surrender. 17. Maintain independent purpose. The most dangerous lover is the one whose identity becomes intertwined entirely with the relationship. When the bond breaks, they collapse. Your purpose must precede your partner. Your mission must outrank romance. This ensures that if love dissolves, your structure remains intact. Train. Build. Study. Lead. Let your partner complement your life, not define it. When you operate from abundance of purpose, you are less likely to tolerate disrespect, for your world does not shrink if they depart. It continues. 18. Never negotiate with disrespect. The first sign of betrayal is rarely dramatic. It is subtle. Canceled plans, inconsistent communication, dismissive tone, hidden behavior. Most ignore these signs to preserve comfort. You must not. Address it once, calmly, directly. If behavior persists, withdraw, not angrily, strategically. Tolerance teaches people how to treat you. Discipline teaches them how to value you. 19. Detach from outcome. Attach to standard. When entering a bond, you must care more about maintaining your standard than maintaining the relationship. If your standard is violated, you walk. No matter how strong the attachment, this is the hardest principle. Attachment clouds judgment. But attachment without boundaries invites erosion. If you know you can leave, you negotiate from strength. If you fear leaving, you accept scraps. Practice walking away early in small matters. It builds the muscle required for larger exits. 20. Let them qualify for you. Most pursue validation. Few require qualification. Shift the dynamic. Instead of wondering if they like you, observe whether they qualify for access. Do they keep promises? Do they respect your time? Do they speak well of others? Do they demonstrate loyalty? Ask yourself, would I advise my future self to trust this person? Romance intoxicates. Observation clarifies. Let them earn deeper entry. Value is preserved when access is gradual. 21. Master your emotional temperature. Passion is beautiful, but volatility is weakness. It's like never allow someone to control your emotional climate. If they attempt to provoke jealousy, remain composed. If they attempt to incite reaction, remain measured. If they attempt to test your insecurity, remain grounded. Calm dominance unsettles manipulators. The one who cannot be baited cannot be controlled. And control is what many unconsciously seek. You must become ungovernable. The inner ascension. Now let us speak of something deeper. Heartbreak wounds not only pride, but identity. You believed you were chosen. You believed you were secure. When that illusion breaks, you question your worth. This is the true battlefield. Hear me clearly. Their betrayal is not proof of your inadequacy. It is proof of their limitation. Not everyone can sustain depth. Not everyone can handle loyalty. Not everyone can remain when novelty fades. If you were intense, you were alive. If you loved deeply, you were courageous. Never regret the capacity to love. Regret only the misplacement of it. The goal is not to become cold. It is to become selective. Next, we descend into psychological nuance, how to rebuild attraction after silence, how to respond if they attempt return, how to ensure that if reconciliation occurs, it occurs on your terms. Good. Now we enter dangerous territory, for many who rebuild are tested again. The betrayer returns, not always out of love, often out of curiosity, loneliness, ego, or the unsettling realization that you did not collapse as predicted. This is where many lose everything they rebuilt. You will not. Understand this law of human nature. When something once possessed becomes unavailable, its value increases. When something once controlled becomes autonomous, curiosity awakens. Silence is unsettling. Growth is destabilizing. Your composure after heartbreak is not invisible. It travels through mutual acquaintances, through observation, through digital whispers, and eventually, the message arrives. Hey, I've been thinking. This is the true examination. 22. Never respond from surprise. If they return, you must not react as though it is unexpected. Surprise signals lingering attachment. Instead, receive it as inevitable. For when you have followed this doctrine, it is. Respond measured, not cold, not eager, neutral. Example. Them. I miss us. You. I hope you're well. Short, contained. Let them speak more. The one who speaks more reveals more. Power lies in observation. 23. Require accountability. Without emotion. If reconciliation is even to be considered, it must begin with clarity. No vague apologies. No, things just happened. No blame shifting. You require acknowledgement. Not theatrically. Calmly. You may say, if we are to speak seriously, I need to understand what has changed. Then remain silent. Watch how they respond. Do they deflect? Do they minimize? Do they take responsibility? Accountability is the entry fee. Without it, there is no negotiation. If they cannot confront their actions calmly, they will repeat them comfortably. 24. Observe consistency, not intensity. Upon return, many arrive with passion, frequent texts, compliments, plans. Intensity is easy. Consistency is rare. You must test time. Do not resume exclusivity immediately. Do not regrant full access. Let weeks pass. Observe patterns. Consistency reveals character. Intensity reveals desire. Desire fades. Character remains. If they falter again, you withdraw permanently. And this time, without warning. 25. Never reward disrespect with access. If during the renewed contact they reference your pain dismissively, if they joke about your reaction, if they imply you overreacted, you end it. Immediately. Calmly. No, that doesn't work for me. Then disengage. The alpha does not debate standards, he enforces them. If you argue repeatedly over the same boundary, you have already surrendered power. State once. Enforce once. 26. Be willing to walk, even if they beg. This is the ultimate test. They may cry. They may plead. They may promise transformation. But if your internal instinct signals instability, you walk. Not because you do not care, but because you care about your stability more. Attachment tempts you to rescue. Power demands you evaluate. If reconciliation feels like regression, decline it, and do so peacefully. I wish you well, but I am moving forward. Then do not look back. The ability to refuse what once broke you is evolution. The final transformation, emotional sovereignty. By now you understand something profound. The goal was never to become cruel. The goal was to become sovereign. Sovereignty means you love by choice, you stay by standards, you leave by principle, you return by evaluation. You no longer fear abandonment, for you know you can rebuild. You no longer chase validation, for you validate yourself. You no longer cling to illusion, for you value clarity. This is the shift from victim to alpha. Not louder, not harsher, but steadier. There remains one final point, and I will seal this doctrine permanently. How to love deeply without losing power. How to remain warm without becoming weak. How to ensure heartbreak, if it comes again, cannot shake your foundation. Excellent. We now close the circle. You have learned how to survive betrayal, how to reclaim leverage, how to reverse psychological gravity, how to prevent repetition. Now you must learn the most difficult art of all, how to love without surrendering sovereignty. For power without warmth becomes isolation, and love without power becomes self-destruction. Many who are wounded choose one of two extremes. They become cold, or they become cautious to the point of paralysis. Both are forms of fear. The disciplined choose neither. They choose controlled depth. To love again after betrayal is not foolish. To love recklessly again is. You must become both fire and fortress. 27. Love from strength, not from lack. When you loved before, ask yourself honestly, were you loving from abundance or from emptiness? If you required them to feel complete, you were dependent. If you enjoyed them while remaining whole, you were powerful. Before entering another bond, ensure your life is structured, your body trained, your finances stable, your purpose active, your friendships intact. Love should enhance a complete life, not rescue an incomplete one. When you love from strength, you do not cling. When you love from lack, you negotiate your dignity. Never again love from lack. 28. Maintain rotational focus. Do not allow romance to consume your entire field of vision. Divide your focus deliberately. 40% mission, 30% self-development, so 20% social network, 10% romance. This ratio protects you. When romance exceeds its proportion, obsession grows. When obsession grows, fear of loss grows. When fear grows, you tolerate more than you should. Balanced attention preserves clarity. A ruler who focuses only on one border invites attack elsewhere. Guard your entire kingdom. 29. Demand reciprocity without announcing it. Never beg for effort. Observe it. If they initiate, good. If they invest, reciprocate. If they fade, mirror. You do not confront every fluctuation. You adjust. This silent calibration keeps you from overextending. And when someone senses they must contribute to maintain access, respect grows. People protect what they invest in. Ensure they invest. XSUM, XX. Never disclose all your cards. Transparency is virtuous. Overexposure is naive. Retain portions of your ambition, your plans, your internal processes. Let them discover you over time. Mystery sustains intrigue. Intrigue sustains attraction. Attraction sustained reduces complacency. Complacency is the birthplace of betrayal. Remain evolving. Remain layered. Remain slightly unpredictable. Not chaotic. Dynamic. 31. Practice detached affection. This is the highest art. You care deeply, but you do not cling. You give fully in moments, but you are prepared to withdraw if disrespected. Detached affection means you can say, "I value you," without saying, "I need you." You can say, "I enjoy us," without saying, "I cannot survive without this." It is emotional generosity without dependency. Few master this, but once you do, fear dissolves. 32. Accept that loss is always possible. This truth terrifies many, but it liberates the disciplined. Every bond carries risk. Every attachment carries uncertainty. Trying to eliminate risk creates control. Control creates suffocation. Instead, accept this. They may leave, and respond internally. If they do, I remain. When you are no longer afraid of loss, you no longer behave anxiously. When you no longer behave anxiously, you become attractive. Confidence is not arrogance. It is self-trust in the face of uncertainty. 33. If betrayal ever returns, you will not. Should betrayal occur again, you will not plead. You will not over-explain. You will not bargain. You will assess once, decide once, act once, and move. The difference now is this. You no longer define yourself by who chooses you. You define yourself by what you tolerate. This is sovereignty. Let this be carved into your mind. You were never weak for loving deeply. You were inexperienced in guarding power. Now you know. Heartbreak was not your ruin. It was your initiation. The one who broke you gave you something unintentionally. Clarity. Clarity is more valuable than comfort. Comfort dulls. Clarity sharpens. You are sharper now. Walk differently. Speak calmly. Choose carefully. Withdraw decisively. Love deliberately. And if ever you must walk away again, do so as though nothing in you was shattered, for nothing in you is fragile anymore. If this doctrine strengthened you, then you know this is not common counsel. It is strategic evolution. Like, share, and subscribe for those committed to mastery in love and power. And if you have transformed from heartbreak into sovereignty, leave your mark below. Your experience becomes strategy for another. The weak break, the disciplined rebuild, the sovereign rise, and once risen, they are never ruled again.